What's the easiest way to increase the profitability of your conference or your workshop? Well, marketing certainly has something to do with it. You can get more speakers, but the secret to this is returning attendees. Now, I'm going to be walking you through in this video a bunch of strategies and ways to increase the amount of people who return to your event year after year. But I think before we get into that, I just want to set some expectations, because some people have the wrong impression. We've got a bunch of clients who have come in to work with us in the past where they ran into issues with their audience base in general because of returning attendees. So first, let me just break this down, then we'll hop into some strategies you can use to get people to return. Now, if this is 100% of your attendance pie, let me give you one example. So we had a client, they came to us, they had experienced a decreasing attendance over the past 5 to 6 years. Their attendance had been decreasing. Now, when we looked at the numbers and tracked and where everybody was coming from, we found that they weren't really bringing fresh people in. They had no fresh blood, no new fresh prospects. It was just people who had seen the event over and over and over again. And what naturally happens is you lose those people through attrition. People move, they change industries, they change roles, they change interests, economics change. There's so many things that end up costing you attendees every single year just through attrition. It happens, right? So in this example, she was losing and losing and losing, and then she got into a lot of trouble right here because they were trying to, by the time she spoke with us, they were basically trying to hand away free tickets, and free tickets are the hardest thing to give away. And it's just, the event was on a downward spiral. So one of the things we really looked at is, well, what's the makeup of the audience? And through my own personal conference, what we found is you actually don't want a high number of returning attendees year over year, because if you're growing, you need to make sure you have that fresh blood coming in. So for example, in my first year, we had 1,000 people. And then the next year we had 2,500. If I'm just relying on returning attendees, and let's say, 50%, 75% of returning attendees or attendees return, I still have a lot of ground to make up if I'm looking to scale and grow my event. So the primary focus isn't on returning attendees. The primary focus should always be on getting fresh blood, new people in the ecosystem, and then they will turn into returning attendees. So I just want to make sure we've got our heads on straight, the right hat on, and we should always be looking for new people, because the returning people will just come as a byproduct of putting on a really, really good event. Now, that being said, and just setting expectations, that being said, if you want to aim in your mind, right? If you're on a growth trajectory, you want to have about 30% of your audience as returning attendees, because you're growing year after year after year. So if you're really looking to pad your numbers and get that up, the right makeup, and we've seen this kind of vary a little bit, but generally speaking, 30% of your audience should be made up of people who have already come, and then the remaining 70% should be new people who have never experienced your event before. And that's going to grow and grow and grow your event. Now, once you do have people in the door, you can work on some secondary strategies for how to keep those people in the ecosystem returning year after year. Now, why would you actually want somebody to return to your event? And this is the secret to increasing the profitability of your event, right? If when we run any type of marketing, ads, direct call, whatever strategy you're using to generate those leads, there's a cost. And then you're going to convert those people to a sale. That's your cost per sale, right? Your customer acquisition cost, your CAC, right? That is whatever number it is. It's going to vary depending on events. As soon as that person makes another purchase, that's going to significantly decrease your CAC and increase your customer lifetime value. So your LTV is the lifetime value of the customer. So how much money are they going to spend with you over the life of their relationship with you? Then we've got the CAC, your customer acquisition cost. So by tapping into returning visitors, returning attendees, we can lower our CAC, and then we can increase our lifetime value. And because when we get more revenue coming in from the same customer, now we can increase our ad spend costs, we can make our event better, we can invest resources to dump in and to scale. Now, the golden question, the $1 million question is, well, what can you do to make sure people return and come back? So there's 3 I want to highlight today. And the first one might be kind of obvious, but it's not so obvious when you get into it because a lot of people don't do it. Okay. So number 1 is going to be you sell tickets. Now, when I say you sell tickets, yeah, you're selling tickets to your current event, but what you're going to do is when they're already there having a great time, you're going to sell them tickets to the next year. That is the time that their emotions are up. They're having a blast. They're loving everything. They're in the zone. They're going to make a purchase decision. If you wait 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks later, a couple months later, the excitement's gone. Their mind is somewhere else. And now it becomes a decision of, oh, well, I'll just wait until closer to the event. That happens all the time. We just actually had an event. They launched their first conference and they absolutely crushed it with pre-sales for the following year. They're basically almost filled up based on their last year's numbers just in pre-sales. It was awesome, right? That's what you want to get to, because what that does is that gives you that base. So remember before how we were saying you want to increase your pie. So you get your 30%, right? So if these are all returning visitors right here, returning attendees, now for the rest of the year, if you're an annual event, you're focusing on getting 70%, this 70%, but it's all new people. So now you can concentrate on your ads, your outbound efforts, whatever it takes. That's how you scale year after year and get more and more and more people in the event. So number 1, you got to sell at the event. Now, there's different ways you can do it in terms of selling tickets. We've employed some different strategies with some of our different clients, depending on the feel of the event, their audience type, the avatar who's in the room, that type of thing. But generally speaking, what you want to do is you want to reward people for supporting you. They've already paid for their ticket. They're there. So it's always a really good idea to create a special offer just for people there in the room with you. You don't make it available for anybody else in the public. It's just for people there. It'll be, price discounts for them. Maybe you can throw in some extra bonuses, whatever it is, whatever makes sense for your business. But you want to make it special and only for them. But here's the thing. You have to have a deadline for it. Because if there's no deadline, if there's no urgency there, people will just sit on their hands. Oh, well, I don't know the dates yet. Oh, they haven't announced the speakers yet. I'm just going to wait, right? What you want to do is have that urgency there. They're there at the event. They're excited. They're having a great time. And now you can prompt them to take the action you want them to take, which is you buy the ticket on the spot, right? But you got to put everything together and make a really good offer for them to take that action. Because, even with our conference, we're just about to launch our speakers for 2025. That's coming in about a week. So we have a bunch of pre-sales in, but they don't know the speakers, all of that type of stuff. So the offer has to be really, really good for somebody to take action with all those unknowns. Okay. So you got to sell, you got to pre-sell. And there's different ways you can do it from the stage. You can have things in your app. You just want to motor as hard as you can. Now, here's the secret. So I mentioned one of our clients just crushed it with their pre-sales. What they did was they had everybody, so they had a 3-day event. They made the offer at the event for the pre-sale tickets. And then what they did is immediately after the event, a couple days following, they had their team call everybody who showed up who didn't take advantage of the offer and said, hey, listen, this is going away and tomorrow, let's get you locked in. And they did a ton of sales through dialing through that list. So you want to be aggressive with it, not sleazy salesperson aggressive, but you just want to make sure that you get in touch with everybody. And every year, it's oh, sorry, I totally forgot. My flight was delayed. I totally forgot to purchase. This is why you want to get in touch with your attendees. Now, number 2, you want to show, not tell. And what I mean by that is when you have your different ticket tiers, your experiences, the things people get to do at your event, you want to make sure you show that to everybody. So if you have a VIP ticket and a general admission ticket, if you have 3 different ticket tiers, 4 different ticket tiers, depending on the size of your event, you want to make sure that everybody, no matter what their ticket is, sees what the other people get to do that they don't get to because of their ticket level. So if they bought a general admission ticket, make sure they see everything the VIPs are doing. Why? Because it gives them an idea. So here's the thought bubble here. It puts something in their mind about something new and a new experience that they can have next year that they missed out on. There's FOMO, right? And if your VIPs and your top ticket tiers are really, really, really good, you're going to have people who see it and say, oh man, like I need to have that. And if you come in again and do that pre-sale and you have that offer, now that's where people are going to be like, oh, I'd be crazy to pass this up. I'm definitely getting whatever ticket tier that they want to get. If you tell and you're just like, oh, hey, this is what VIP's doing, it's not as effective. If you show, if people see the VIPs, last year we ran a black tie event, everybody, sees the video, everybody sees what's going on, everybody sees everybody dressing up, everybody's talking about their outfits and everything. That's what you want. So you don't tell people about it, you show them. And that's through, you don't want to throw it in people's faces, but you want to make sure everybody's aware of exactly what everybody else can get and they see them experiencing it. And it's that longing, it's that fear of missing out. It's like, okay, well, next year I need to have this. And we track this with our own attendees. If somebody comes in at our base level, well, generally speaking, they'll move up and graduate to at least, the middle tier or the upper tier because they come for the first time, they experience it, and then they see what everybody else gets to do. Boom, they're going to make that purchase. But again, it goes back to you have to have the offer, you have to make it right, you have to set up that pre-sale at the event. You don't wait a month later, you don't wait 3 months later, it has to be tight, okay? The third thing I want to touch on is community. Now, I don't mean you set up a school community. That's what everybody thinks, especially now with school and all the ads they're running. I don't mean a school community. What you're going to find with events, like I started from scratch with my conference, so we started from the ground up. But what you're going to find is after a couple years, you have people coming from all over the place to an event. We have people fly from Europe, Africa, Middle East, UK. Then we have people from all over the States, all over Canada, all over people come. And it becomes a meeting place where everybody gets to know the returning people and the common people, and then they look forward to seeing them the next year. And you're building like a family feel, a community within your larger event. And this is why, one of the things people are always concerned about is as they scale the event, like, oh, well, it's too many people, it's going to lose personal touch. Well, you have subgroups within your audience, and this is one of the subgroups. All of the returning people they're like, hey, I remember you. Oh, hey, you were wearing that crazy t-shirt, or hey, I remember you dancing on the bar, whatever it is. So you want to make sure that you're doing things to promote that community. And what can you do at the event? Well, number one, you want to create experiences that people enjoy together. As the thing I've learned about selling event tickets is it's not about the lunch, it's not about the swag bag, it's not about any of that stuff. It's about the experience people get to enjoy together. So if you have, so a really cool experience, one type of ticket gets to have all of those people there. They're going to be, wow, oh my God, this was amazing. I can't believe they did that. They're all feeling the same feeling. They all experienced it together. They've bonded. So now the next year, when they see everybody else again, hey, remember when this happened or whatever, that's how you start building that community. So it's through experience. So when you're planning out your workshops and your events, you want to think about, okay, well, what kind of experience can I give to my different levels of attendees that will have them interact, build those connections, start those friendships, and then year after year after year, you'll find the same people come back. Now, like I said at the start, you're going to lose people through attrition. It happens. Your primary focus is always on fresh blood, new people who have never experienced your event before. But you're always going to have that core, that 30% I was talking about. If you're growing and scaling like you should be, that 30% of your attendees should be that core, that returning core. And that's going to give that warmth, where when you have new people come in, they see that warmth, they experience it through all the different activations you have. And that's how you start building that community feel that has that family aspect where people keep coming back. Now, when you do all three of these things, so you've got community, right? You've got the sale, right? You've got all of these things in place. That's how you really drive that lifetime value of your customer. But also you're going to be able to, your customer acquisition costs, right? You're going to have a whole lot more. So it's going to cost you X amount to deliver a customer. But now your lifetime value is, double, let's say, maybe it's triple over the years. So now you can afford to spend more per customer to acquire them, because the lifetime value makes more sense. Like, would you spend $200 to get a $1,000 customer any day of the week? Would you spend $200 to get a $500 customer? Absolutely. But you see the difference. Maybe spending $200 to get a $500 customer in year one, that's great. Your customer acquisition cost is $200. It's the same thing for year two, except you've already acquired the customer, you've paid the ad spend. Now it's just gravy, right? So just pumping that lifetime value is the best thing you can do. So if you're running a conference, if you're running a workshop, and you want help with this type of stuff, we've had some crazy success stories with our clients. Just go to theconferenceaccelerator.com. We've got some case study videos. We've got some explainer videos on there, just walking you through. You can book a call with my team. We'll talk about your event. We'll actually understand it, and we can give you some recommendations. And if we can help with that, great. If not, that's okay too. We deal with events from all over North America, every different industry you can think of, all these different niches. It's a lot of fun to do. But part of that is, as we're building out the experience at the event, we have to make sure that we've got this in the back of our mind. It's not the primary goal, which is always new people, but your secondary goal should definitely be that retention aspect. You're going to lose people through attrition, but this is just how you drive up that lifetime value. And you can just afford to invest more because that's there down the road. So theconferenceaccelerator.com, check us out. And until next time, have fun, scale your event. I'll see you guys next week.